Are we live?
I think it says
There
we
you
are.
go.
Let's check. Let's
Ooh.
unexpected.
Yeah, it's never that easy.
Maybe it's because it's not a lot of people going live. It's Monday.
Yeah, Monday's a bad day.
That's a good point.
All right. So I think we're live. I hope we're live, but welcome, surprise to Madtropolis citizens. You have the three of us right now because we have some special town hall announcements we'd like to make.
Yes.
But first of all,
Big week.
Jamin, how was your weekend?
My weekend was pretty good. Did some grilling, and then it's just basically about waiting out COVID, waiting for California to figure out, like, are we or are we not gonna?
California. So are you guys in California? Are you guys on lockdown?
Well, it depends on what county, who you ask. Like, it's all jumbled here. Like, not even getting political or anything. It's just total mixed messaging. So yes, we're on lockdown, but then the weather's getting nice and the beach is just right there. So yeah.
Is the beach open?
Yes, it is now. You got to keep it moving. You can't like set up, but if you go to the right beaches and just kind of, aren't a huge group or getting on top of people and licking like, trash cans and stuff, they'll let you hang out. So.
Gov, how was your weekend?
Weekend was great. I mean, I think I was riding a high from Friday's show.
It was a good show.
And David Bell. I mean, that was amazing. I was not expecting Doug and David to just have such a great synergy together, and they brought.
I know they were good. We got some real. Okay, so Gov and Jamin, what did you guys think when? Because I never told you guys that we were going to play games. No live LinkedIn. All right, let me pop over and see what's going on with the technology.
Yeah, that's what I was just checking out. The games are fun. Anything to like break up and have. I mean, I think this way, just in normal conversations, like you're not just all serious all the time. You get like a little levity, like take a deep breath. Plus, it's a longer show, so it's kind of you get to laugh, stretch your legs a little bit. I dig it.
I see us on LinkedIn. We're good. Happy Monday, Scott Lecklitter. I hope I got his name right because that would be really bad. Amanda Miller in the house.
Oh, Amanda, what's up?
In our house. Eddie in the house. I love it, y'all. I love it. All right, hold on. Let me see who else is in the house because I do want to ask Gov a very important question because you guys welcome. This is
how do I feel about you tripping me up on that question on Friday? I feel horrible about what you did to the question on Friday. If that's the question, then that's how people need to know. I feel horrible.
I'll tell you.
There we are.
That I purposely did not want Gov and Jamin to know about the games that we're going to play. First, I knew they'd be like, Cassandra, you're not in high school. Why are you playing games with the CEO of a $2 billion company and CEO of a very big other company in Florida? And I think it's just appropriate, but also because I wanted to take them off guard. So those of you who have not seen Friday's show, we'll put it in the link here. We'll put the link to the show in here so you guys can see it. But here, go ahead, Jamin.
I was going to say, Eric Serta, sorry for interrupting your workout. Thank you for tuning in anyways.
We interrupted his workout?
This was not planned, people. So I want you to know this was not planned, but it was planned on us, on our end, but it was not planned for you, should I say.
You guys don't know. Yeah, that's true. So I will make sure to put the link of the live show in here in LinkedIn. So, all right. So the three of us got together over the weekend. We were really excited about how Friday's show went. We have other CEOs. Doug is a trendsetter now. Yeah. Because we're working out schedules.
Yes.
We have Dave Abels for this Friday, right?
Yes.
Dave.
Big name. That's a big name.
He's the CEO of Dart.
And register so we can get Doug Wagner, who, as Cassandra put it, took our hearts, which is legit.
It is.
Get him on. So pre-register.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we got to give Doug. I already texted Doug and I was like, hey, people want you back on Friday. What do you think, Doug? And so he's ghosting me because he knows that I'll bully him into it probably. Like, you guys, I lied to Doug on Friday. I told him that
we weren't a part of that lie, people. That was Cassandra only. I want to put it out there.
But we benefited from the lies.
We did benefit, but Doug is pretty powerful out there. So I want to make sure that the gods of transportation know that me and Jamin were not a part of that plot.
I did lie. I told Doug I called him because I used to work for him, and I said, Doug, can you please just come on the show, talk to us? Da, 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 da. You only have to answer like 2 questions. Pop in, say hi, pop out. Yeah, I didn't tell him about the games, the drinking, the cursing, and I definitely didn't tell him that we keep him for what, an hour and 40 minutes.
I wasn't expecting him to be on that long, but I think what he found interesting was that people were asking him some really good questions
Yeah, they were.
about brokeraging and how do they grow their business, how did he grow his business. So I think it was a good all around.
Plus,
Thank you.
all kidding aside about him stealing our hearts, because I think it was real. What a cool platform for him, right? Like he knows what his time is worth, and so to stay on that long, he could have. You gave him an out right away, so he got a great way to speak to the talent in our industry, and I mean that's got a value there too. So I was stoked for him that he got to show people who he really is. It's nice.
And I could tell you guys that I was, the 3 of us for the last over a month now have been constantly trying to bring together people and encourage morale. And we've been talking about leadership quite a bit. And Doug came on and he really articulated the skills of leadership, the direction that brokerages and companies should be going. And he did it fluently because you knew he wasn't full of shit.
It's very authentic.
And I wish and I hope that other CEOs of growing companies and CEOs of large companies who don't have the same direction that they're going as Doug, I hope they see him and how much people really fell in behind him when he spoke.
So Brian Parker from JB Hunt says, "I'm surprised he didn't pull an Irish goodbye. He was excellent, but everyone was expecting him to pull an Irish goodbye."
I was too. You guys saw, I gave him an out because I'm like, that's what Ron does to us. When Ron's sick of us, he's like, boop, gone. And
which I love Irish goodbyes. They're awesome.
Me too. And so it'll be interesting to see how Dave Abels does this Friday. I warned him, you guys, he got a head start. Doug got blindsided on Friday. For those of you who didn't watch it, Doug had to play right away, you guys. He played Never Have I Ever. And not clean, Never Have I Ever either. Inappropriate, Never Have I Ever. And then he also then had to play Who Would You Rather? And then he was asked a lot of tough questions. And then we opened it up to the floor where anybody could come in and ask him lots of questions. So I
think Dave is good though. Like I know Dave personally, and what I love about him is that no matter he's had 25, 30 plus years in the industry. He is a CEO. He is a president of a large carrier company. But what I love about Doug the most is that he keeps it real. He hasn't forgotten where he comes from. He's not that pretentious, stay away from me. I'm an untouchable. Doug is very much in the trenches. I'm sorry, Dave is very much in the trenches, which is why Dave is going on the ride along with Wayne later on this week. I mean, that's a big thing.
And to your point, I think the opportunity for leadership now, Gov, is we're seeing to stand in there, take some of the questions that maybe are avoided, like, oh, that's too small or too strange of a question. The questions that are coming up here, we can joke about Friday being kind of a chaotic show, and it is.
It is.
But that's the very real nature of what's on people's minds, like what we at the desk level care about. And so much respect when, very legit leaders with big business who have to think big picture can understand that those are maybe small concerns actually matter to the big picture and connect that. Mm-hmm. And ones like Dave and David and Doug, these different CEOs we've seen come on, man, they get it. And it just resonates with people.
They do. And even David with his industry practices and his points, I mean, he was spot on with everything that we have been talking about and everything that the followers want to hear. So that was great. The Friday, those of you who haven't checked it out, I mean, just check out the first 5 minutes. They'll make you laugh. But the entire show was full of gold as usual. And then, so this week, we're trying something new this week. I'm very excited. And so we're going to have a show for shippers on tomorrow at 2 p.m. CT. Everything's 2 p.m. Chicago time. So tomorrow, a show for shippers. And we're going to go into very in-depth into their world to talk about supply chain and transportation. And we have Ron helping us lead that up. But we also have Tony Darrell, which Tony Darnell, a lot of you already know. He's been on our show. But I mean, Tony has his thumb on the pulse. Yeah. Then we have John Brewer, who is going to be a great thought leader to join us on the Shipper Show. And then we have Kimberly Swetlick and we have Andrew Teal, both.
And Kimberly's watching us right now. So,
Hi,
hey,
Kimberly. We're excited to have
Andrew Till is a big name. Andrew Till, I know a lot of people don't know much about him. I know Jamin's the one that put me on him, but from what you're saying, Jamin, he controls a lot of freight out there. He has a lot of access, a lot of insight.
Well, yeah, his insights you can see, and I would encourage all those names that Cassandra just mentioned to follow them on LinkedIn, because they have some heater advice, insights, even beyond just freight, right? Just good overall people that are interacting with a positive, unifying message. And I think as we set up this week, that's the thing that we do want to have everyone keep in mind. You know, Tuesday's a shipper show. Wednesday, you know, we'll have carriers, and Thursday, and Cassandra will explain each day. Thursday, we'll have brokers. Everyone's invited. This is for Madtropolis. We're just handing off the mic on a given day. That way, you know, we can be focused on shippers. What do they want to know from Madtropolis, or what's on their mind, or us Madtropolis citizens? What do we want to ask them? And so it just kind of keeps it organized and siloed just from that standpoint, but it's for everybody to learn from each other.
Yeah, well said. And a lot of brokers and carriers have reached out to me, and they were like, "Oh, I want to be on the Shipper Show. I have things to add." And I'm like, that's the thing, is we realized when we launched Madtropolis that in order to have all three parts of the industry together, you had to stay surface level on the conversations.
That's big.
Right?
Yeah.
And then so now with the Shipper Day on Tuesday, the Carrier Day on Wednesday, and the Broker Day on Thursday, we can go really, really in depth. So I'm trying not to add people who aren't brokers and carriers and shippers into their own shows, because.
Well, why do you want to go in depth, Cassandra? You tell us, me and Jamie, why you want to go in depth, but why are you wanting to take the citizens of Madtropolis in depth on those specific days?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah.
I want us to implement everything we're talking about on Friday. And I think it's hard for us to improve and unite and share best practices when you're also trying to include people from other sectors of the industry. Yep. So I can already tell, and I'll show you guys what I posted to my shippers for a discussion, but you can see how in-depth it's going to get. But if you add brokers and carriers to the conversation, you're taking a voice away from the shippers a little bit. But most importantly, Gov, I want to unite people, and I want them to have friends. Like, I heard that there's a big supply chain, and Jamin, you can tell me if I'm messing this up, but there's a lot out there for supply chain on the consumer good side, and more into the products themselves. And then there's a lot, obviously, in our industry for brokers and carriers, but then there seems to be a gap for those who are working with brokers and carriers on the shipper side, and they are planning.
Yeah,
dealing.
I think it's a good spot, to your point, for us to come together on the logistics, transportation, trucking side of things, learn from each other, and elevate one another.
Yeah.
Now, tell me if I'm out of line, Cassandra. I'm going to say it like, usually I'm kind of the nice, laughy guy.
Yes.
This pisses me off, and I hate when I see it on LinkedIn or social or anything. So this is my word of warning. These shippers are coming on. They're really putting themselves out there. They need to be here. They have questions too. They're a part of this ecosystem we're all in. Let's not make them pay for giving us their time, their viewpoints, their insights by selling them and being tacky and just being, just totally off base. So don't go thunder thump their inboxes or call them with these disingenuous approaches for business. Like, let's keep this very much a community where we're learning from each other. Obviously, business relationships over time happen, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, don't be part of the problem. I have no patience for that, because it's just, you're not being a good salesman. You're not being aggressive in a good way. Like, no, forget that. You're being lame, and you're limiting it for the rest of us to get to hear from. Don't scare off the shippers.
Good job. I love that. I love that, because the thing is that the community at Madtropolis, we are our community where we want to help each other. We want to grow each other. We want to see people become better in their career fields. What we don't want to do is take this opportunity to poach on people that are in the group just because you feel like you're becoming more familiar with them. Let's not poach on them. Let's be communal. Let's be happy. Let's grow the industry. But Jamin is 100% right on that. I love everything you said, man.
Yeah. And I think that we can say that for all the other groups too. We don't want to turn our show into a load board on our comments. We all got to come together as a community, but there's going to be some kind of ground rules. And for those of you out there, and we're not talking about like softs, we're not talking about like little mentions and stuff like that. We're talking about those who start going after our shippers and being really annoying, and then our shippers don't want to join with us in these conversations anymore, which we have seen over the past month or so. Everybody's been pretty good. But for those of you, just know that the three of us, we have our eyes all over social media. There's not a lot that goes on without us seeing it. So we will find out, folks.
We will find out. People will message us. Trust me. Shippers will message Cassandra, myself, Jamin, or myself and say, hey, this person is being a little bit janky. Like,
And to me, you're missing an opportunity because and this goes even for like to your guys' point to the carriers or the brokers, whoever's on this, right? Yeah. We're missing, if all of a sudden you just go for some sell or just promoting yourself, you're shutting yourself off to so much valuable information that could go out and help you make 10 sells for whatever that would be, or 10 other relationships. So come here to contribute info and to gather, and we're people, not logos. Yeah. That's what's going to make this a great place.
We're people, not logos. I love
and the biggest thing of that is if you're watching right now, I think we got about 50, 60 people on right now. Call your broker friends, call your shipper friends, call your carrier friends. We want to hear from the people that you want to learn from. We want to put people on the show that you believe have valuable information, great assets to the community. That's what we're driving to do, is to educate you guys. So tag the people below, send a message to Cassandra, send a message to me and Jamin, whoever you want to see on the show, say that shit so that we can know. And I promise you, between us three, anyone in the industry, we can send a message to, either text message, LinkedIn, or a regular email and get a hold of. I promise.
Yes. And also, anybody have games they want me to play? Please message them to me. Don't message them to the Gov or to Butter. Because
message them to me. Message them to me.
Message them to me.
Because she's gonna try to trip me up again, and I'm not going through that shit again. I'm not dealing with it.
I think all this speaks to like just a reminder of Madtropolis is not like just a hashtag or a buzzword. Like we need help to make it be truly a community, because it's not about just the three of us on here. It's not just about whoever the guest is or whatever. It's about all of us, and so it's going to take contributions from all of us. So we hear comments and everything, like share. Let's do this.
So this week, for everybody who's starting to trickle in now, for this week, we've got Tuesday, we've got a huge lineup of shippers. We have a shipper show. It's only going to be shippers with the microphone, but anybody can listen and ask questions. Wednesday is going to be carriers, same thing. Thursday's going to be brokers. And then Fridays, we're all going to unite. We're going to drink beer. We're going to play games. And it's going to carry on and on and on.
You got a big comment.
Yeah, go for it.
Got a big comment I got to bring up to you. So Brian Parker, branch manager, JB Hunt, he said he agreed with Jamin. Last week was insightful, and his young sales team has much to gain from seeing their perspectives. So that is what you've built. I mean, you built a platform where you wanted sales teams from brokerages, carriers, shippers, anyone to be able to sit down and take those notes and learn. So kudos to that.
Woohoo. And we're bringing good content, right, guys? Like we're talking about, I think this week is a good first time we're going to roll out all these shows, but I think we're going to surprise everybody with the content we're going to end up talking about. But I want to tell people something. So for example, Jamin, I wonder what you're going to think about this. So ideas I was thinking for the shipper discussions tomorrow that I was talking to the Freight Godfather about were how to manage the transitions in the food supply chain from like food service, like restaurants, to retail, supermarkets, and then back because of COVID. And then what preventative internal measures are necessary in plants and warehouses. We've talked about some of that at Madtropolis, but I really want to go into the nitty gritty with my shippers.
That's good.
How to manage drivers coming and going. We've also talked about that, but I want to get into like the absolute details. They also want to know how to build and maintain morale during the shipper show too, which is what we're going to talk about during the carrier show and the broker show as well, because this whole week we're going to talk about COVID and the impact for each sector.
It's a good call out.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
Jamin, do you have any other thoughts about the broker show? Because JD's going to join us on the carrier show on Wednesday. Jamin's going to join us on the Thursday broker show. We're going to talk about COVID. We're going to talk about the sectors themselves and the nitty gritty. I'm trying to push the gov to get us somebody in maintenance, somebody who's like in the nitty gritty. Ooh, actually, I have somebody at Schneider I can invite that's in the maintenance world too.
Talking about Dean?
No, I was talking about Steve Jarzynski.
I know Steve Jarzynski.
You do? Let's try to get him on. He's really cool. I'll text him. But JD, or I guess Butta. Like, anything else about your shows?
Thursday, I really think the desk level, asking some of the people we have on, hey, what's it going to mean for these folks? We're in this awkward phase of, I mean, we're talking post-COVID, but almost, the transition too, right? Like some areas are open, some are not. What will that look like going back into the office? What if I have some very real mental or emotional blocks or challenges with going back? Like just very real, actual desk level
and
things.
Even stuff like California outbound. Isn't that
it's tight right now. It's tight right now.
It's California and Chicago right now.
Yeah. So
Chicago
what are we seeing as things are tightening up, like outbound California is real tight. So guess what? If you were trying to gouge some carriers right now, they're getting to give it back to you.
Their time back, huh?
How are people managing those relationships? What are some good examples? I would love to hear. Actually, here's something for Madtropolis. Can you share with us some good examples of ones who didn't gouge during this time? And right now, great example, outbound California, super tight. What are some good stories of ones you maintained a partnership with? Now you're moving freight at reasonable rates with carrier partners when other gouging, more short-minded brokers are struggling for trucks. Any good stories related to that would be awesome to hear. Please share.
That's a good one.
That's actually really good because I mean, we have, and I'm one of them. I have beat up some of these brokers that have been posting some of these spot rates that are just ridiculous. But I would like to know about the brokers out there that Doug was talking about. That Doug says, I have a relationship with some of these brokers.
Yeah.
These guys have been doing me right. These shippers have been doing me right. I want to hear where the relationship is working. That way there we can show Madtropolis and the industry what it looks like to have a functional.
Good point.
Yeah, let's reverse engineer it together and then share that out so more of us can be doing that. So please share those positive stories with us.
I love that. Does okay, Gov, I have a stupid question for you.
Uh-oh.
In the maintenance world, do the prices swing as much as like rates do? And
That's a great question.
No, that's an amazing question. So prices do swing like that when it comes to the supply and demand. So if you go and you're in a metropolitan area like Atlanta or a DFW or Los Angeles where you have a multitude of towing trucks and mobile repair units, then typically you're going to see the pricing stay the same when it comes to a call out. When you go to those outlying areas like Natchez, Louisiana, or buttfuck Georgia, or Joplin, Missouri, you're going to find yourself realizing that in the next 100-mile radius, there's only 2 towing companies that only have 6 trucks that can actually get on the road. 6 of them on the road now, 10 work orders are in queue. That's when you're going to start seeing the rates rise when it comes to actually coming out or what that call out fee will be. You won't see a rate rise for like the tires or any type of equipment or replacements that they do for you, but you're going to see a rate rise when it comes to what that call out fee looks like. Either it's going to be an extended amount of time before they get to you, or you're going to pay an exuberant amount when it comes to them getting to you quicker.
Okay, I can't.
I'm fascinated by all this, by the way.
Okay, me too.
I know nothing. Yeah.
I can't wait on Wednesday. I do want to talk about this more, Gov, because I have like more questions, and I think we can entangle the carrier section with.
And I think it affects all our business more than at least I initially quite think of. Then you start talking about it, I'm like, oh, okay, and the trickle down of how that then reaches us on all levels.
For sure.
I'm super
There's so much that happens with the maintenance of a truck. I think when people see a breakdown for a vehicle, or a big truck, they think, oh, it's just a tire or it shouldn't take that long. But as soon as there's a breakdown, there's an additional supply chain that happens. So when that breakdown happens, it's either I'm going to call out a tow professional, or I'm going to call out a mobile repair professional, or a diagnostic professional. Depending on who I call out, it trickles down even more. I call the diagnostic guy out. He gives me the fault code. I call the mobile repair guy out. He tells me that he can fix some of it on the side of the road, but I need to tow this 18-wheeler combo tow to the nearest TA, which is 45 miles away, which is going to take an additional hour and a half. So that maintenance breakdown could add an additional 4, 5, 6, sometimes 24 to 72 hours to that driver's time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Antonia, I just a quick shout out. I just see in the comments, Antonia. We're talking about Doug Wagner and David getting our hearts on Friday. Antonia got our hearts and our support. So stoked.
Antonia.
She definitely did.
I want to hear about that first load, by the way, Antonia.
I do.
That would be great. And so the weekly shows, just to summarize for everybody, what is going to happen this week? Tomorrow's your shipper show, 2:00 Chicago time, 1 hour. Unlike Madtropolis on Friday, we're going to keep everything to 1 hour. Wednesday is going to be carriers with JD, myself, and carriers, 1 hour.
Ooh.
Thursday is going to be brokers, me, J-Man, Butter, and whoever brokers we decide to have. That'd be 1 hour. And then Friday, we're going to light it up on Madtropolis. So bring your beer, earmuff the kids. We're going to play music. We're going to play games. We're going to bring on CEOs. Somebody tell Doug to get back on.
Doug
We can
Wagner.
play more games with Dave Abels and Doug. And the other thing is that for those of you who have not watched Friday's show, I'll post Friday's show and you guys will laugh so hard. You'll love it. Am I missing anything, you guys?
I just think people are gonna love Dave. I mean, I think this
I know
show this week, I don't think there are many CEOs who are as real as Dave is. So don't come to the show thinking that he's going to be this presumptuous
I don't think,
person.
JD, do you think we're going to let any CEO or any
Never.
person at all come on here and be
Never.
buttoned up and
Never.
do? We've got other CEOs lined up by you guys. We are working with Brad Jacobs' schedule. We are working with Shelly Simpson's schedule. We are working with the CEO of USA Trucks schedule. So we have other big CEOs lined up, and not one of them is going to come in and be too buttoned up. We're going to play games. We're going to drink, and we're going to talk about the future of our industry. So on that note, you guys, give us your feedback about this week. Join us. Help us educate the industry. And also make sure to send me any games that you think we should play. Do not send them to Gov or Butta. Because
Send us positive stories. Send us positive stories too.
Yes, that's right too.
We're
Send
all
us
part of
positive stories if you're a broker and you're experiencing the tightened capacity outbound California, right? And did you say Chicago too?
Chicago is starting to link up and get a little bit tough too. Kyle Lintner was talking about that today. So that's something for people to look at.
You guys, JD's had a long day.
Yes.
Oh, wait, hold on. This is not your music.
No, I need the bass line, baby.
That's not your music either. Although some people have PTSD when they hear that song. Here it is. JD, don't let that MBA stuff get to you. We got your back, man. All right, you guys, we'll see you tomorrow, 2 p.m. and message us. Thank you very much. Happy Monday.
Bye.